Well, hi everybody. This is Dear Mama Sal, and we're live on a Sunday afternoon, which means it's time for us to talk about coping with stress. And yes, I have had more than my fair share of stress this week with bells on, but I am still here and hopefully still laughing. And oh, I've got a cubie full of tea towels that need to be folded. They don't need to be in the show. So here we go. Today we're going to be talking about how I've coped in the last few days with the deep freeze that unexpectedly arrived here in southern British Columbia. And I think, excuse me, I think you all know that here in this part of the world, we are meant to rust, not freeze. And so this Arctic outflow that hit us quite honestly hard. For us to go to, hi Jonas, and to Jeannie, for us to go, and Kimmy, for us to go to minus anything centigrade, is unusual. We went to minus 17. And, that's, wait a minute, minus 17 would be just about 1 degree Fahrenheit. So, this is like, we don't do those temperatures here, people. So it caught us by surprise. But anyway, I have survived, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how. Oh, interesting. Jonas is saying we have no heating in our building, and the automatic doors are broken, frozen. Oh boy. All right. So, be grateful for what we've got, right? All right, so let's just talk through this a second. Before we start, I don't believe there are any birthdays that I need to acknowledge this week. So if there are, if you have a birthday this week and you're a regular viewer, or you don't have to be in the chat, but if you know, regularly watch the broadcasts, we certainly would like to acknowledge your birthday or any other anniversary that is important to you. So please let me know at dearmamasal@gmail.com. In the meantime, let us get on with the show. Um, First of all, I haven't heard from Jenny, who had to move. So I have no idea how she's doing. And I'm hoping that she'll pop into a broadcast and let us know. Because you remember she had the flood and had to move out. Oh, interesting. Jeannie's saying that her son-in-law has a birthday on Wednesday. Okay. Yeah. So um, Jonas is saying the head office wanted us to open the store, but I refused due to the unsafe conditions. Um, and then I was not going to manually open and close freezing doors for customers all day. You know something, that takes courage to say no to a boss. So, but I want to tell you, I agree with you. If it's dangerous, it shouldn't be done. Unless you are what I call an essential service. I'm not sure what sort of store you work in, but if it's an essential service, then that's something else. I think mandatorily you have to open. So our quotes today, our quotes today, I hope are funny, or some of them will be. Um, and that is, they're going to be funny quotes about being cold. And the first one was, "Can anybody tell me where the off button to winter is?" I've always said to you guys, I don't do winter. I do fall, and then I count down to spring. And it's just like, wow, this has been very okay. So just to backtrack a little bit, for those of you who don't know, I actually ended up knowing that this Arctic outflow, as they call it, was coming in. And somehow or other, stupid me, didn't do what I normally do, which is to set a cold water tap dripping very fine stream, almost like the very thin pencil lead. All right. It's actually better than just a drop. Just to have it running that moment between a drop and a stream. And what I did was, somewhere or another, I had read that day, that very day, I read that, you know, let the hot water run like that. No, people don't. It does, well, and the logic being that the hot water running through the pipes would keep the cold water. No, it didn't keep the cold water from freezing. So don't do that. You need to keep the cold water running very slightly. Um, but I'm certain you all know that. Now, I know you're all laughing at me because where you live, you are really cold. But it's all relevant to what you're used to, all right? And we, as I said, we here in southern British Columbia, or if you like, close to the Pacific Northwest, we are used to rain, and maybe during the winter sometime about an inch or two of snow, then it's gone. you know, you will remember. I live in the place where we had to ship in snow to do the Olympics. Even at mountain level. So, we don't do this very well. Um, oh, interesting. So, Jonas is saying that she had to call the general manager because um, they couldn't close the door, because it was frozen. And he's a key holder and the key broke off in the lock. Yeah, so about stress, that's for sure. You waited until 10:30 and then we called her asking for an ETA. She tells us that she was already there. Oh, yeah, well, you know, not good communication, that's for sure. So anyway, let us get on with this and let's see if I can make any sense of this. The thing that really blew my mind was when when you're probably not going to believe this because I didn't. I got a red alert that came up on my phone at the time, and it was a frostbite warning. People, I live in southern British Columbia. You know, we don't get frostbite warnings. So that was horrific. It was just like, really? And it was just so unexpectedly cold. The one good thing I did is I had been using my deck as my wine cellar. And I must admit, the one intelligent thing I did was to go out and bring in the wine cellar. And I'm so glad I did, because I would have lost all that wine. Well, not that it's that much, but there was some for the festive season, right? Now, to give you some idea of what it's like in my home, I thought I'd just give you reality. The reality is that at sort of this level, chest level, if you like, the temperature in my house now is 24. Okay, which is quite pleasant. Thank you. At my feet. Okay, hang on a second. I sorry. I better do this in Fahrenheit for the Americans. Sorry, the temperature at this level is about 75. But at my feet, it is 62. That is the difference in my house. 75 and my feet are at 62. So you can imagine it's very difficult to know what to wear. In fact, so difficult is it that I have already changed today. I got up and I thought, oh, the house is nice and toasty now, so I can, and I dressed accordingly. What I'd forgotten is that it might be comfortable at waist level, but it sure as heck isn't comfortable at knee level. And so I had to go and put on my winter cords to try and keep my legs warm. So really, really interesting stuff. However, I did have this major learning moment about the mistake I made. And I'm, so the two areas of my house froze. My ensuite toilet line froze, and then after that is my vanity. So those two froze, and they're still frozen. But the good news is the temperatures are beginning to rise, and I think within the next 48 hours, I should be able to have those two back online again. In the meantime, I have, increased the temperature in the bedroom and in uh, the vanity area of my bathroom in the hope that that would help defrost, but it hasn't. So, I've just got to wait it out now. So to me, this is like, I know it's laughable for some of you when you live in these much more cold areas than I'm living in, but I assure you, it's been quite a challenge for me. Now, Jonas, I would imagine, where was the 11th coldest place on the planet yesterday? Oh, hang on a second. He's saying we're colder than the Arctic here in central Alberta. Oh, my gosh, it was minus 40 and you don't have heating. What am I worried about? So I've got to ask, how are you keeping warm? You're in Edmonton. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. What can I say? Minus 40. How on earth are you, if you don't have any heating? Um, yeah. So, let us know how you're keeping warm. So, did you say that you don't have any heating in the store or at where you live? Ah, so you're okay when you go home. Good for you. That's where you need to be, warm. Um, wow, that's amazing. Yeah, Kimmy's suggesting that I leave my tap open, the faucet open, and the room warmer. I'm doing everything I can in that regard, Kim. Thank you for all your kind suggestions. I think I'm nearly there, quite honestly. Um, I want to tell you, to be asked to work in those temperatures, I think is cruel, quite honestly. Um, but that's just my feeling. I don't think anybody should be asked to work in those temperatures without heating. Of course, the maintenance guys are stalling. I'm sure they're overwhelmed. Where's my coffee? What's it doing over there? Ah. Okay, so what I did find was that I was incredibly grateful. I don't know about the rest of you. Um, that's the one thing that really struck me. I was so grateful I wasn't homeless. I was so grateful that I wasn't an animal without shelter. And I was so grateful that maybe some of my plants will survive. I don't think all of them will, but some will. And so, it's like, I think it's really important when we have these moments in our lives to use it as a reminder of how great, how fortunate we are. And I was thinking how fortunate I am that I can afford to, have heat. Um, that I, that isn't an issue. Oh, interesting. Jonas is saying that yesterday the company wanted them to keep the doors open, wide open, when it's minus 40. Where's the logic in that, really? So, I couldn't help but feel how lucky I was, for all that was going on in my house. Yeah, Kim is saying she keeps thinking about everything outside. Yeah. Absolutely crazy. I agree, Sandy. Yeah. And so, please, if you have a moment, if you have the ability, if you have any extra warm blankets or jackets or whatever, you might want to take a little trip as soon as you can, to check the homeless in your area. Charity begins at home. Or if you can't find them, go to the local church and donate them in a hurry, because people are going to be literally freezing to death if we're not careful. Now, I wanted to talk to you about some realities, because sometimes, what we think is a total disaster actually isn't. For example, you heard that the line to my toilet froze. Now, the thing is this, that it is only that end of the house that the pipes froze, all right, and only two items were affected. However, the rest of the house still has water. And what I found was I can still use my washroom if I want to. All I have to do is keep refilling the toilet tank, cistern, whatever you call it, wherever you live. That's all I have to remember to do. Is if I flushed, I need to refill it. And obviously, don't flush too often. And so that is, to me, it's not that I can't use it. I can use it. And the other thing I'm so grateful for is I've got two toilets in my house. I've got a guest toilet, so I can use that. And so to me, it was just like I'm so grateful that I had water here in the kitchen. I was able to do a wash, all of those things, which is I'm very, very grateful for. All right, so Hawkeye, Jonas is saying, apparently the mayor plans to declare a state of emergency on Monday, but I'm thinking, why wait? It's already an emergency. Yes, I agree with you, Jonas. Said, I deal with lots of homeless people every day where you work. Yeah, so, that may be something that you can help organize, is, to get some, and I'm sure your customers will help if they know. All right. Maybe have a bin somewhere where they can donate warm clothes that they don't need, and so that you can deliver them to the church. That would be my suggestion. Blankets, and just put, gratefully receiving blankets and warm clothes, if your boss will allow you. So, no, I just got my thermometer into my coffee. Not a good idea, people. So, you understand what felt like it was a disaster really wasn't. And the next thing was, what would I have done if the whole house had been frozen? I probably would have gone to a hotel for a couple of days. It's just like, really. Let me go and be comfortable. But luckily, touch wood, so far so good. And I am happy for that. Um, so now, hang on a second. I just got my notes here. I just wanted to carry on from where I was with my notes. Oh yeah, the other thing I was grateful for, yeah, is that I had power, because I think you guys know, if we lose power, I lose water and power. So again, touching wood, so far I still have power, and also I'm so grateful that I've got a gas fireplace in my house, because that basically, you know, at least one end of the house I could keep warm, and I could just put curtains up, if necessary, and just block that part off from the rest of the house, and keep as warm as I could down the one end. And so, I was really very grateful for that. But I must say that for the first 24 hours, the fireplace alone could not raise the temperature enough. I had to go find space heaters and turn them on just to bring the temperature up in here. And then the other thing I was grateful for was yesterday, something made me think to go check my spare bedroom stroke studio, because I don't have any heating in there at all. And I thought, I wonder what the temperature is there. And I took my thermometer in and put it on the floor. And it was down to 50 on the floor in my spare bedroom. So Kimmy, you're saying if you lose power, it's going to be really cold. You don't have a gas fireplace? I want to tell you, I will never get rid of what I call the old-fashioned gas fireplace that you manually, turn on and all sorts of things, because when these things happen, it's a wonderful way to keep the house a lot warmer than it would be. And if you can imagine that the fireplace alone, full cranked, my gas fireplace fully cranked, could not bring my house up to 70. All right. And normally I hardly have it turned on at all, but cranked up, it struggled to bring the house up to, I think it got it up to about 67, somewhere around there. But then I just said, okay, I need to find more. Now, the other thing is that I know that I'm going to have a horrific electricity bill, and that's okay. But again, I know that they're busy, trying to ask us not to use too much electricity because, they're going to be overloaded. So, yep. But in the meantime, I am not going to freeze. The other thing is, I meant to go to have a bone density scan tomorrow. And I did say to them last week when they phoned to confirm it, that if it's snowy weather, I'm not coming. I'm not going to go anywhere. Because I think at my age, with my mobility issues, it is dangerous for me to go out. Never mind driving. But I think it's dangerous for me to go out and go to places where there's no parking, and I'm going to be in the cold a lot. And I mean, why would I do that to myself when it's not an essential thing? It needs to get done, but it doesn't have to be done this month. So I'm going to be phoning them tomorrow and canceling it and say, please give me another date, and just do that. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk to you about is, if you are lucky enough to still have power, how many different heat sources do you think you have in your house? Yeah, Kimmy's saying that's what she tells her cardiologist and her eye surgeon. No go during the winter. Yeah, it's just like, it's not on a it's very difficult. So I was thinking, what am I going to put into the spare bedroom? Because I've got my other space heaters in other areas. And I thought, well, wait a minute, I got a slow cooker. So I put my slow cooker on for a while, and then I thought, no, something, I'm going to take, I bought those little plug-in heaters. I took one of those and I put it in there overnight, and it brought it up about 5 degrees. Yeah, I was quite impressed. And then I was thinking I could take my second one, if I need to, out of the living room and put it somewhere, and then I would just turn on my air fryer, or if necessary, my oven. All right, because they're heat sources, true? And so, to me, it's about get creative. I was saying to somebody today that the greatest thing I am grateful for is that I used to go camping in winter. The fact that I went camping taught me a lot. You learn, just make a plan. It is what it is, make a plan. But when you go camping in winter, in basically a tin can, you learn about keeping warm. And so there's part of me that goes, I probably am feeling more cold today because I'm standing here with this differential between the temperature here and at my feet. Because normally I wouldn't have that differential. All right. Normally I'd be on my couch or under a blanket. I wouldn't have that problem. Sandy's saying, totally agree, sir. Ooh. Oh, Jeannie did it again. Anyway, totally agree, Sal. My mom had cataract on Thursday. We had to go in on Friday as well. I had to tell them to salt the parking lot. Right. It was an ice rink. 80% of the people in the clinic are older. Yeah, it's like it is not worth doing that. Kimmy, we'd like to apologize on behalf of DearMamaSal. You got nuked for some reason. Let me see if I can unnuke you. Hold on one second. I don't know how you undo it. Jody knows. Anyway, so I really am sorry, Kimmy. It is not personal. I know Jeannie does it occasionally. I'm not sure. She hovers her cursor and then accidentally hits it. Huh. Wonder how Jody does that. Anyway, I'm going to leave it to Jody to fix. So please, also, this is my request for you. If you know that one of your neighbors is older, please, 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 would you check on them? Make sure they're okay. Yeah, Sandy's saying her point is that they shouldn't be making appointments for the elderly, in these conditions. I think, quite honestly, Sandy, the elderly need to say no. All right. And as I'm going, no, I choose not to. Okay, Jody's saying that Kimmy was timed out, which cannot be undone, but she'll be back when the minutes has elapsed. 3 minutes. Okay, so hang in there, Kimmy. You're going to be on timeout for 3 minutes. Okay, thank you so much, Jody, for checking on that and letting us know. I appreciate it. How many of you can relate to this one? I stay warm in winter by wearing my entire winter wardrobe. And one of the things that I thought about was, I'm a great believer in the summer. When I get too hot, I wear a wet scarf. So how many of you know that wearing a scarf will warm you up? Why? Because it's warming the blood, all right, going that goes up to your brain. Good idea. But also therefore warms you. Yeah, put on a jacket if you have to, as Jonas was saying. But what, of course, my problem is, is that it's my legs. So I was thinking, what I need to do. What I need to do is actually wear this as a, extra layer, like a kilt. That would be much, and let's see if that works. But it is amazing when you've got this differential between the two areas. We'll see if that feels any better. And only going to no, it's not even going to my knees. Just psychologically, it might feel better. Anyway, so Snoopy said, I'm not going outside until the temperature is above my age. Mm. And Jeannie's saying that she tried to get her mail and newspaper. Yeah, and failed. Yeah. And she's also saying that her regular snowplow guy didn't show up. Finally, a neighbor told me that he would do it since the regular guy was unreliable. That's really kind. It's nice to have neighbors like that. And that's what I'm saying. If you happen to have an older person that is your neighbor, please do what you can. Make sure that they've got food. Make sure that they've got heat. All right. Because for all we know, they haven't, you know, and they may not be quite as make a plan thinking as you are. So, Jody, I thought you'd like this quote. It says, "Winter, my new excuse for drinking more coffee." What I have decided is that I really like the smell of coffee. And, you know, we're on this mission in my household, as you know, to use up a lot of stuff that I brought in for the pandemic. And I've noticed that I got way too much cinnamon, way too many cloves, and an awful lot of coffee. And so now my new thing is I am amusing myself. Where is it? Can you see it from there? Yeah. Right there. You see that there? What I've got is a mason jar filled with some water, but it's got coffee, used coffee grounds in it, with some cinnamon and some cloves. This is called my new room fresheners. Are emitting this wonderful aroma into my house. So it may be chilly, but it's very pleasant, I must admit. Aristotle said that to appreciate the beauty of a snowflake, it's necessary to stand out in the cold. No, it's not. You can do it and watch it on the window, Aristotle. Oh, you probably didn't have windows. Okay. So here we go. Why was the snowman sad? Because he had a meltdown. And quite honestly, this next quote says, I wasn't made for winter. Okay. I want my flip-flops. Oh, interesting. Sandy's saying if she could smell what's going on in my house, this the coffee with cloves and cinnamon. It make her want more coffee. Yeah, well, you know, will stop you eating though, Sandy. Think about that. Yeah, she's like, really? Mm. Jody, I had a blood glucose question. Is a cup of coffee considered a meal? Because I actually forgot to take my blood sugar earlier today, and I took it after I'd had a full cup, a big mug of coffee with uh, with oat milk foam and salted caramel flavoring. And I thought, I wonder whether I should just count that as a meal. So then I thought I better ask Jody when I see her. So, to me, it's like, let's use this time to care about other people. How many of you... Sandy's saying, I tell myself every winter, why do I live in a place that hurts my face to go outside? Yeah, I mean, you imagine what it's like for us here in BC, Sandy, getting told to be careful, there's a frostbite warning. And they know we don't know what to do about that. They know we're stupid. We can't drive in 2 inches of snow. Now they know we're stupid. So not only did they send the warning, but it was so cute. They sent us, this is what you need to do if you go outside, people. The instructions. I cracked up laughing. Oh, interesting. Sandy's saying that caffeine can raise blood sugar for some people. Yeah. Yeah, I just wondered whether I could count a full cup of coffee as a meal because my blood sugar was a bit higher, and I wonder whether it's because I've had the coffee, because I really haven't been eating that badly, as you know. Oh, and Jody, the microgreens. I've started harvesting them, but what I thought I'd do is show you how wonderful they look. Hang on. I'm going to try not to drop it all over my computer. Look at that. Isn't that great? And, you know, I've just started harvesting now, so I've harvested about an eighth of it so far. And these were some mustard and the rest are chia. All right, so look at the little chia seeds there. Cheerful little things, aren't they? And then, because I've started harvesting that lot, I've now started the next one, and this is flaxseed, otherwise known as linseed. We learnt that. Flaxseed and chia on this side. And why? Because I've got plenty of them. But I had to show you that. Another thing. The other thing I see I've got plenty of oats. So in terms of trying to use up stuff, I am now making overnight oats a lot. Do any of you make overnight oats? It's really very simple. You just huck some things in and leave it in the fridge overnight and then warm it up in the morning if you want to. I certainly warm mine up. But I found a nice one because I thought this was nice. I'm going to tell you what's in it because I'd never had it. So hang on, I've got to get the eyes on. It had some ripe bananas. If ever you're trying to use up bananas, use it in your overnight oats. Some old-fashioned rolled oats, which I had, some milk, put in some yogurt, a little bit of vanilla extract, and also some chia seeds, and then ground cinnamon, a little bit of salt. And if you want to, put some graham crackers on top just before you eat it. But what I wanted to tell you was that whole thing about using up the bananas, I thought, gosh, that's a really good idea. And what I did was I literally put the whole lot into the blender and pressed the go button and then left it overnight. So I just thought I'd share that for those of you who can eat it. Okay, Sandy, help me here. You're saying, so I eat chia daily. Is that what is happening in my body? Not sure what the question is. So that chia question, ask it a different way, just so I can understand it. But I do want to tell you that the overnight oats is a really good idea at this time of the year for those of you who need it. Oh. Yeah, the microgreens. Are you asking, should you eat them every day? I use them in my, okay, fine. I must admit though, but I do eat them every day instead of lettuce in my, you know, when I make a pita, and I have a pita every day. So yeah, this is my pita for today, and I will load it up with cheese and then microgreens and yum. And I want to tell you something. It's amazing how tasty they are, but so nutritious. That's the reason why I'm eating them, because of the nutrition in them. By the way, if any of you got Netflix, there is some program on, oh gosh, I wish I could remember the name. I'll find it and mention it next time. Hold on one second. I can make a note. That's what you got Jody for. Jody, could you remind me to look up the name of the program I'm about to talk about? I think it's called the Twin Experiment or something. And what they are doing is it's a series, and they took a series of twins, like 6 different sets of twins, adult twins, and they're feeding one lot a vegan diet and the other lot an omnivore diet. But what they're doing is checking what differences happen in their body. Because we've been conditioned to believe the only way we can get protein is with meat. And of course, that's not true. And that we've also been told that if you have a totally vegan diet, you also aren't going to be well, and so forth. So what they're doing is this incredible thing, and they're checking not only what it does to their muscles and everything else, but also what it does to their gut. And they're saying that gut health is going to be the next major thing that we look at, all right, is how do we keep our gut healthy? Oh, interesting. Sandy's saying there's been a recall on Quaker brand granola bars and such. Made this year or 2 years ago? I think the ones I've got might be a bit older. Let me check. Oh, well, let me know, Sandy. Thank you for the heads up there. I think mine probably are about 6 months old. Thank you, Jody. That is exactly what it's called. You are what you eat. The twin experiment. It's on Netflix. And I only saw 2 episodes of it last night, but great for, if you're looking for something to do while you walk inside or while you're on your treadmill or while you're on your mini bike, whatever it is, because it goes by pretty quickly, all right? So I want to tell you not only that, it is horrifying in as much as they're showing you, how cattle are raised and how chickens are raised and everything else. And you're going, why would you ever eat regular meat again? And I want to tell you, it made me want to upchuck. So you are warned. Right? Winter was made for hot coffee, warm blankets, and very large books, or binge watching in this day and age, right? And so what I have found, though, is that that I link 9 o'clock with a series of events, and that starts with have I done enough steps? And I literally, when it gets to 9 o'clock, I go to Billy the bike, and my first job is how long do I need to be on Billy the bike? And it changes every day because it depends how many steps I've done already. And what I know is for every 10 minutes I'm on that bike, I put on 1,000 steps. And it's one of those sit down bikes, you can have it under a desk, but I just sit there and I literally know that 10 minutes of biking is 1,000 steps. So if I've only done 3,000 steps when I sit down, I know I've got to do half an hour. Makes sense? Yesterday, for some reason, I had even less than 3,000 steps. So I knew I was going to need to do 3/4 of an hour, but I reminded myself I don't have to do it all at once. And that's a choice that I make, right? Do I want to do it all at once? And the other thing is this. If you haven't got Billy the bike, you can literally just stand in front of your television while you're binge watching. Don't even lift your feet off the ground. This actually works quite well, people. And just literally go like this and pretend that you're walking, but just make sure your arms are moving so you're pumping the blood through your system. Oh, apparently there could be salmonella poisoning. Wow. Thanks for letting us know, guys. I appreciate that. Thanks for the research, Jeannie, as well. So I look at it and go, I am very grateful for the fact that I've actually lost some weight this year. I surprised myself. I've managed to lose 4 pounds already. Because, at Christmas time, I baked so well, I put on all the weight that I'd lost all year. I was so disgusted with myself for that. But it is what it is. So, complaining about it wasn't going to change it. What I put into my mouth was going to change it. And so to me, it's like, what am I going to do? I just need to do it systematically. I know what to do, eat less, more exercise, and I will be fine. For those of you who know that Jody and I are on an experiment to eat the stuff in our freezer during the winter. Jody, I am glad to report that this week I took a serving of pork out and ate it. I didn't turn it into 3 meals. I took out a serving of pork and I ate it as pork dinner. And I added half a potato and some, a lot of vegetables, and it was excellent. I was so proud of myself. One out, didn't turn it into 2 where I needed to put 1 back in again. And then I also took out mac and cheese, only because I needed to eat it, right? I'm going, oh, look at that, mac and cheese. I can justify eating it because it's helping to deplete the stuff in my freezer. It was so good. And I did add tomatoes to that. So, yeah, and more cheese. And now, sitting here, I have 3 ounces of roast beef and the gravy that I also froze. By the way, that's a trick I really recommend. I cook a whole roast and then cut it up. Half of it I slice and the other half I put into cubes. But I also make sure that I make a lot of gravy and then I freeze it into these little mason jars. So now when I have dinner tonight, basically I'm just going to make the potato that's going to go with it, half a potato. And warm up the gravy. It's all beautiful gravy that I made. So it makes me just hungry just thinking about it. Jody's saying, I take 3 things out and put 2 back in again. The shrimp is still a phenomenal deal at Walmart. Yeah, it is difficult. I'm really so proud of myself. And I thought, Jody is going to be so excited for me because I managed to get 3. It's now the 3rd thing that's out and nothing went back in. So that's week 3 now, right? So Jeannie's saying she did the opposite. She had a guest, so she bought hamburger in for meatloaf. Yeah, I mean, you haven't got an overflowing. I've got 2 free. I live on my own, and I have the big freezer here at the bottom of my double door fridge full, overflowing, and I've got a freezer in the craft room that is big enough to take a couple of bodies, and that is overflowing. And that is what I'm doing now, is trying to get them down. If I could get them both down to half by the end of the winter, I would be very happy. Yeah, and Jody's saying that she's allowing herself the shrimp because it doesn't upset her stomach. She's had all those problems and operations and stuff. So, yeah, Jody, this is not a competition in that way, but I know that you wanted to support me in what I was doing. So, good news is that the mac and cheese came out, the pork came out, and the beef. So that's 3 this week. And I did have an ice cream. That's 4. I got the chocolate-covered ice cream bars. Yeah, on a stick. Popsicle things. Very nice. So that's 4. That was, Mind you, they will get topped up again when they run out because that's my treat. So I'm eating it, plus I'm making the oats. That's another good food thing. And then the microgreens, another food thing. Oh, I haven't mentioned it for a while, but some of you may, now that I mention it, think about my hydroponics. They did not like the change in temperature. I think they, and the power cut that happened between the 2 of them. I think most of it's dead. I think I might have saved 1. How about that? Isn't that sad? Never mind. It is what it is. So, laughter is the sun that drives winter from the human face. So wrap up warmly, grab a warm drink, and find something funny to watch. You'll feel much better. Imagine if fire extinguishers were full of snow. Imagine the fun we'd have. The memories. Um, so we've only got a couple of months until spring now. Yay! Um, and I reckon that I've probably got at most about 48 hours of my pipe still being frozen. So, life's not too bad. And I'm going, look how fortunate I am, really. And you guys are still here with me, even better. So, what is it that I really felt about the stress of this week was I didn't, quite honestly. I'm going, gosh, I had power to my confetti corner, so I was still able to make things that made me happy. I was able to, you know, I actually sort of literally warmed up room by room. I realized that the walls had got cold. And I know that from being in a trailer. Once the walls get cold, then you really got a problem warming everything back up. So, and I literally was quite pleasantly surprised last night. I was able to turn the fireplace in the living room down a bit. Um, so obviously it's coming back up to freezing now. Whoever thought I'd be happy about that? Happy that it was freezing. But that's what it is. So um, the other thing I wanted to talk about is my phone. Do any of you remember that a few months ago my phone went weird on me and I couldn't start it? It's done it again. And the peculiar thing is I can attach it to my computer and find out that it's fully charged. Okay. But it just won't turn on. So when I go into the computer and look at my phone through my computer, it shows that it recognizes it and that it's fully charged. But will the thing turn on? Nope. So last time it was really peculiar. It did it for a couple of days, and then suddenly one morning I tested it and it turned on. So I'm hoping it does that again. But it may be time for yet another expense, which would be time for a new phone. I'm going to give it until Tuesday. If it hasn't started working by Tuesday, then I think I'm going to need to go and get. Yeah, I was trying to imagine what it's going to be like trying to drive without a phone. And how many of you remember the days of the A and Z map book? I mean, how am I going to get anywhere without my phone to tell me how to get there? Um, and how many people only ever contact me via, you know, text messages that I won't know are even happening? So it's very difficult, but it is what it is, right? So please, again, um, watch out for your neighbors in this very cold stretch. Make sure that people that you know, not necessarily older people either, because, just because they're younger doesn't mean that they're smarter necessarily. And, they may be struggling, can't get out to get food, can't get, coffee or whatever it might be. And so if you are doing well in this cold, do what you can. I made sure that I contacted my neighbors to make sure they're all okay. And yeah, interesting. Sandy's saying, yes, map reading is lost. I'm going to teach my kids. You never know. Yes, it's like what? That's a very good point, actually, Sandy. What children today know how to read a map and find, unless they're boys or girl scouts, right? Um, because they've never had one. They and like they go what? And I I'm remembering when the only way we knew how to get anywhere was with an A to Z. And we used to look at it while we were driving. Remember those days? Long time ago. Anyway, so people keep warm. Thank you for being here. And hopefully by the time we next talk, which will be Friday, I will have my bathroom back in working order. And if I don't, so be it. Funny enough, somebody contacted me this morning and said their bathroom had suddenly frozen as well. And said to me, but I think I might have burst a pipe. And I said, if you've got water in the rest of the house, you haven't burst a pipe. Right? The pressure would have dropped dramatically in your house if you got a burst pipe. So that's one thing. Hi, Kez. Nice to see you. Kez is saying, I only know how to read a map in a shopping center. Yeah, and Sandy's remembering when we used to have the A to Z on the steering wheel while we would, yeah, okay, I take a left here, apparently. Yeah. And did I see that Nyasha came in? All right, so everybody, just thoughts and prayers. I did put them up on Facebook, but thoughts and prayers for Nyasha. She has to go to Trinidad to get some eye specialist work done. And so, our thoughts and prayers go with you, Nyasha. I hope everything's okay. When are you going to Trinidad? It's just my memory that fails me as to when it was. Tomorrow evening. Okay. Well, our thoughts and prayers are with you, and get back to me as soon as you can so I can let people know. All right. But you don't know exactly what they're going to be doing, right? From what I understood. Okay, 4 p.m. Yeah, but let's let me know and give me permission to share if it's okay. All right. And if you don't want to share, just don't worry. I'll always ask you whether I can share. Very important thing. So all the best, sweetie, and let's hope that it's a step in the right direction for you because I know you've been struggling all year with this. All right, everybody, I'm out of here. And we will see you hopefully on Friday. And hopefully on Friday we'll find out that Nyasha is fine and yeah, that the trip was worth it for her. All right, everybody, have a great week. We'll see you again soon. Keep warm and keep your sense of humor. Really important. Jody, thanks for being there to look after me the way that you do. And Jeannie, too. And to the rest of you, thank you for being part of my life. I really appreciate it. Bye-bye for now.